So today I talk about how I made a 1 year break from school and why. So I changed school 3 years ago to finish my last 3 years. But after my second year, not exactly after the second year, but like within the second year, I got a like mixed feelings about my future. I thought about how I want to structure my life. I began to dive in a self improvement and how to build my own business and how I wanted to progress in fitness. So the thoughts began by realizing that I can teach most of the stuff that I wanted to know myself. So this was the first insight. And the second insight was that in order to have a healthy lifestyle, for example, working out, go jogging, meditation, exploring nature. In order to do all of this, I need more time, and the school that I was like almost like forced to go. It was from morning about like 6 a.m. to evening also about like 3 p.m. or something. It was not that long, but imagine I had to like go there by bus for around 40 minutes and then I have to eat. There was a lot of time that was like a lot of time that were wasted, a lot of time that were like, completely pointless. So I felt like I'm wasting my time here, and I wanted to invest my time much more better. And I wanted to, like, I pursued a career where I can invest my time the way I wanted to. So what I have done was that around like 1 month before the year ended, I went to my I went to the headmaster or the director, you can call it whatever you want, like the highest person, right, that that decides a lot. I went to him, I approached him and I asked him for a meeting where I can like talk and like open up to him a little bit. So he said yes. After some days, I met him in his office. Told him that I have a specific feeling in myself or in my gut that I need to change something in my life. But in order to do this, I need more time. I wanted to figure out if I'm able to invest my time that I can like live independently. And I tried to tell him that, but I was not able to like specifically tell it the way that I'm like telling it now. I just said that I have a kind of feeling in myself. But in order to follow this feeling, I said to him, in order to follow my feelings, I need more time, and therefore I wanted to ask if I can have like a 1 year break from school, to follow this feeling and watch to where it will lead me, right? And actually, he said yes. There's no problem in it. He just wanted a confirmation of my parents. Of course, my mother, she supports me in everything. She just said, yes, I'm aligning my will to my son's will. This is completely fine. So I got this year off. And after some time, I worked like full time to get some money in, and then I went abroad. First, I went to South Korea, then I went to Japan. Japan is where I'm living now. Here, I can experiment with my time. This is really wealthy. The way I am experimenting with my time is that I'm focusing on a specific kind of task for a specific kind of time. I often told that. At the same time, I recognized the power about motivation, and I figured out that motivation is a little bit more worth than knowledge actually. Because when you can motivate yourself to do a specific kind of task, you're almost getting ahead of your inner self. That's almost like a kind of lazy person, your lizard brain, the human body, it always craves for some gratification. So I went beyond that. And this kind of awakening of my inner power would have never happened when I still went to school, right? So I went abroad and I worked, and then I figured out about the things that I can do on my own. I can teach myself. I can like I can restrict myself, acquire knowledge myself. I can like I can be disciplined myself without extrinsic motivation. And I figured out about my intrinsic motivation. I found out about my intrinsic value. I didn't even only find about my own intrinsic like energy and power, but also about my intrinsic value and about me, of a person as a whole. So in retrospection and looking back at the time, it was really worth it. I would not directly suggest you to do the exact same, but this is a kind of approach of something bigger, where the normal pathway of a human, which is school, university, work, and then pension, right? Retirement, right? This is the normal pathway. And I went a step out of this with the goal in mind to be like to acquire financial freedom, to acquire more independency. And I thought, how should I be independent when I'm always following the same path as everyone else, right? So I already changed like school to like get a little bit out of the normal human pathway. But I had so many things in mind that I was not able to do because of this time restriction. There's always a big time restriction, and I went out of this kind of time restriction where they always give you like set times. You have to be here in school for this and this amount of time, then you have to be, of course, you have to focus only on the school topics. You cannot like work on your own on your laptop. I even tried to work on my own in school. Like I had some abilities to do that, but it was not deep work. It always was shallow work. So I went out of this, and this gave me the ability to work, like to make deep work, as many hours as I wanted to. So there was nobody stopping me, not even my mother, who was always like still craving for a kind of attention, like as women do. I was not meeting friends. I was not going into the city. I was still doing this kind of self improvement digital detox, where I focused only on myself and how my path, for example, influences like the current time, and my feelings towards a specific kind of opinion, and like how I was able to work, like all of these kind of things. I was only able to do this because I went like out of this linear thing. First, I didn't even know where it will lead, right? It was just a feeling. In this, like in the things that I said to my to the director, to the headmaster, was like completely true. It was just a feeling that I was really unhappy that I wasn't able to stretch out my energy and like my thoughts at the in the way that I wanted to. So I always had specific thoughts in mind and energy, but I wasn't able to canalize it in the way that I wanted to because of the restriction of this linear thinking, of the restriction of school, the restriction of the normal pathway, the restriction of this kind of linear thing, this restriction, the time restriction, all of these kind of restrictions that the government relies on in order to get civilian to be able to control their civilization like better. But the power over the civilization comes with the cost of a restriction of the individual. Therefore, my headmaster, he even recognized this, and he said like, oh, you want to break out of the matrix or something. And he even like gave me the example of the life of like a government slave, or the more freedom life that is like self-determined and of like self-realization. I found this really funny that he even like understood what I was meaning. I think this comes from he being a teacher, right? And he has to do with a lot of like young students that have this kind of undeveloped notion. I think this is really the core like philosophy, that had like finally led to this kind of unhappiness and this kind of unnecessary pressure that a normal student is feeling about like grades and any kind of pressure that the normal student feels. For example, in my class, I always felt the pressure to get confirmation and to like integrate myself into like the class system, right? You always need to sit next to somebody, and therefore the person next to you must be like must be even a friend, or whose friend is whose, right? There's this class dynamic. Even this kind of class dynamic is a kind of pressure, but it's a completely unnecessary. It doesn't like support you in any kind of way. It doesn't support you in your life at all. It only shows you this kind of like mental pressure that the normal human ever feels when he is in a kind of when he's in a kind of group that he doesn't really like, or he has to adjust to this kind of group dynamic. And I hate this so much, because I have like a complete different mindset than most of the people. I don't really want to force myself align with other opinions, and therefore I like this kind of, and therefore I always feel like I felt a kind of unhappy, right? And I didn't even wanted them to influence me. And they always like watch TikTok, and I hate like these people like doom scrolling through TikTok all the time. But literally I tell you, this is like reality. Is you're going into this kind of class, and everybody is like completely drained from this media mass, and they talk to you expecting this kind of addiction to be like normal. I wanted to like break out of this kind of like imaginary prison, did this, and in retrospection I can tell that it was like completely worth it. If you have dubs to do this, if you have dubs to step out, and you're reading all of these kind of like self-improvement books, and you think, oh, is this like really true or something, like can I trust them, is it really worth it to take all this effort? Yeah, it doesn't even take much effort. This is like a completely misconception, a misbelief, is that it takes much effort to break out of this kind of like society linear pathways. You just have to step out of it. It's like completely easy. I just went to my headmaster and I just tell them the truth, that I have like this kind of feeling in myself, and that I feel restricted and not able to like canalize my energy in the way I wanted to. And he understood it like right away without even asking any kind of question. He was understanding it right away. This a complete misbelief. You should trust yourself. You should trust your feelings more. First of all, you should listen to your inner self by meditation, what you really want. Like this is the first step I would like suggest you as a practical step, is like to go in inner awareness, and then after you listen, you're recognizing, okay, I feel a little bit like I'm feeling a little bit unhappy with the situation I'm in right now. It's completely linear, and I cannot express me. I cannot realize and express myself the way I want to. And even though it's only a feeling, and I don't really have like a specific like pathway to grasp a specific kind of business I want to make, but I want to do something on my own, just tell that to the person that is like responsible for your time right now. Because it's just somebody else is restricting your time, go to him and tell him that you feel like it's a kind of restriction, and you doesn't want this kind of restriction anymore. And he will understand. I'm convinced of this, and you should be convinced of this too. Don't say to yourself, he will not accept my thoughts. He will tell me right away that it's like stupid and stuff. Don't tell you this lies. It's just this is a completely fixed and like a not supportive mindset for your inner self. You're responsible for yourself, so you are the one that has to take action. So I did this when I was 19, and you should do this too in every kind of age. Doesn't matter how old you are, and you're able to do it. And you should do it if you feel like me when I was 19 in the school, unhappy, drained, and influenced, and not happy with the current situation. Having some dream, having some feeling that I have much more to say, and much more power, and much more things to do in my life. So this is the message for today. I'm really happy about the outcome from the last videos. I thank you all guys, for like taking time to listen to my thoughts. So this is actually the last thing I wanted to say in this video. I will end this video here. Always push through pain. Peace, bro.